Hey everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I am doing a video about some sci-fi books that are under 200 pages. And I have 3 of them. And one of them is Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame. Another one is The Black God's Drums. And the third one is The Haunting of Tramcar 015. And these all just sounded really interesting to me. So to start with, we have Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame by Nian Yang. And this is about a world where there are dragons. One country hunts them, and one country worships them. And we have the dragon hunter and the monarch of the other kingdom. And yeah, this one just sounded really interesting to me, so I got that. And then the other 2 are by P.D. Djeli Clark. And I read Dead Cattail Assassins and really enjoyed that by him. So then I got these 2. So we have The Black God's Drums, which is about Creeper, who is a scrappy young teen tired of living in the streets of New Orleans. She wants to join an airship pirate crew. And in doing so, she finds out that there is a Haitian scientist who has been kidnapped and has developed a weapon, and so she's trying to learn more about that. And it's also got some magic in it, in that she has Orisha's powers. And then The Haunting of Tramcar 015 is set in 1912 Cairo. There is a tramcar that is possessed, and there is this group that deals with that sort of thing, and they find out that there is much more to it than that. So yeah, I do believe I will start with Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame. This is one of the longer ones. It's like 160 pages. These are both just over 100. But this is also part of a Goodreads challenge that ends at the end of June. And yeah, so I need to go ahead and get that done first. But I will get to reading and let you all know what my thoughts are. So I finished Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame, and I really enjoyed this. It was definitely kind of like an enemies to lovers in there, because we do have the dragon hunter, and then the monarch is a dragon shifter. So I thought that was cool. And then the whole kind of unraveling of that was interesting, although I expected it to be more in the book, because it does literally say, you know, in the little blurb, that that's what it is. But yeah, I thought the writing of this was very atmospheric. I loved, like, all the descriptions of the different places and the cultures. And I did feel like this was definitely a slow burn, although it is obviously very short. You know, there is quite a bit of time that passes, and some of that's kind of glossed over. But I could also see how Suki and Yiva were growing closer throughout the book. And yeah, I just absolutely loved that. Loved, like, the friendships and all of that. So if you're looking for a short little dragon book, I could definitely recommend this. And I believe next I'll be reading The Black God's Drums. So The Black God's Drums is the second book I decided to read for this video. And I actually really liked this. This is kind of an alternate history. It is set in 1884 or so, I believe it is. And it is kind of an alternate history of the Civil War. So in this book, the Civil War is still ongoing. And New Orleans is basically a free port. They decided to be neutral and just not take a side. And so anybody and everybody can come there. And then part of the history of this book is also that Haiti and some of the other Caribbean islands, when France, they had an uprising there, and then France came to try to put it down, they used the Black God's drums, also known as Shango's Thunder. And I just felt like that part was all very interesting. It is basically a weather weapon, and they shoot some sort of shell into the sky, and it like seeds storms. And this was all done before Creeper was born, and so she's had to deal with these really bad storms, and it turns out that's what it was from this weapon. Just one use of it messed with the weather that much. And then of course you have airships, and that part wasn't quite as much in there. Just the fact that one of the other main characters in here is the captain of an airship. And that was kind of all there was about those. But yeah, overall, I did really enjoy this and found it really interesting. And I liked the way that like the different Orishas were kind of brought into here, and it just all came together really well, and you get just enough of the history to fully, like, I felt like I really understood this world, and it has a lot to say about a lot of different things, like obviously the messing with the weather part, and then the Civil War. And in the Confederacy in here, there is a type of gas that is used to basically keep the enslaved people docile, and that was brought up a little bit, and just like how wrong that was. And obviously it's wrong either way, but just like the way everything was written, it all came together very, very well. And yeah, I'm really enjoying Peter Djeli Clark. Obviously this is the second book I've read by him, and I really love like his world building and his characters. I feel like all his characters are very well realized. And yeah, again, I'd love to see like more novellas set in this world, because I feel like there is a lot more that we could have. And the same thing with the Dead Cattail Assassins. And yeah, so then I will go on to the other Peter Djeli Clark short book I have, which is The Haunting of Tramcar 015. And I will let y'all know what I think of that when I'm done it. The Haunting of Tramcar 015 was another very interesting Peter Djeli Clark book. I'm really enjoying his novellas, at least. I haven't actually read his full-length novels yet, but his novellas I'm really enjoying. He has a way to build up a world very quickly and to get you to like the characters very quickly. Now, this is set in Cairo, Egypt in 1912. And at this point, there are the jinn who are living among humans, who are helping humans. There's also many different classes of them. There's obviously hauntings, and this follows one such haunting. There are aerial tram cars, as you can see the lines here, that are the transportation system of Cairo. And one of them gets infected, haunted, and our main characters, who are Agent Hamid Nasir and then his younger partner Ansi Youssef, they must figure out what this entity is and how to get it to relocate from the tram car, because it has hurt people. And this kind of takes them on a little bit of a mystery tour. And also, they get to see women fighting to get the vote. And yeah, I just felt like this was really interesting, and I'm definitely want to read more in the Dead to Jinn universe. Unfortunately, my library does not have the other two novellas, but they did have the novel, which is A Master of the Jinn, so I'm definitely going to be reading that sometime soon. But yeah, if you haven't read any Peter Djeli Clark, I highly recommend him. And honestly, I can't really say where to start, because the 3 short stories of his that I've read, I've really enjoyed. And the third one that isn't in this video was The Dead Cattail Assassins. And yeah, they're just all very imaginative. They're all in kind of like a steampunk world, and in these very, how should I put it, descriptive, active settings. And yeah, I cannot recommend his short stories, at least, enough. So that's all the short sci-fi books that I have for you all today. As for my ranking, I feel like this is going to be very, very hard. I would have to say the top one is probably going to be The Black God's Drums, because I felt like that was the most sci-fi of them, and so obviously was one that I highly enjoyed since I do like sci-fi. Then the second one would be The Haunting of Tramcar 015, and the last one would be Swifter Than Flame, Brighter Than Fire. Not that that was a bad book at all, but I just definitely enjoyed the other two a lot more. But yeah, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments, have you read any of these books? Have you read anything else by either of these authors? You know, let me know what you thought of them. Let me know if there's any other short sci-fi books that you think I might like. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll see every time I post a new video. And I will see you next time in the book cave.